Patreon.com/the Walk-Off Podcast. $4 a month gets you in there.
If you're watching this right now and you haven't hit the like button, Billy, get on it. Bug your brother. Tell him to do the same.
Bichette. We talked about this a little bit. I think it was Tuesday or maybe Wednesday, and just his quote. Now, there's a great article on Sportsnet about Bichette and where he is at in his career currently by a friend of the show, Arden Zwelling. He's a great writer. You should check it out if you get a chance. That's on the Sportsnet app. Let's get into this quote that Bo said. And we kind of, when I brought it up last show, I didn't give the whole quote. Basically, I gave that I fully realize who I am and that I'm really good. And of course, you laughed and were like, we got to put that on a shirt. But the full quote is, I always knew the player I was capable of being. I always knew I was good. But now I fully realize who I am. And I feel like I am that player I was in September. What I did in September, that's what I thought I was capable of, but just hadn't done it, had never proved it to myself. And now that I have, I know. So there is a confidence about Bichette currently in spring training that is, exciting. Yeah. The kid's always believed in himself, but I think he really is ready to take that next step. And you know what has stood out to me about spring training, Adam and Bichette? His glove looks good. Have you noticed? Have you kind of paid? I know spring doesn't matter, but have you watched him defensively?
No, honestly, I haven't.
He looks really confident at shortstop currently. And Adam, we've talked about this lots, right? If he can be a league average defender and bat 3/4 of what he did in September, the guy's an all-star. The guy's going to get MVP votes.
Yeah.
Do you think at 24 years old, and I'm curious what you think about this, and I know we have talked about this over the offseason, but as you watch this confidence being exuded from this young player and listen to him talk like he's found himself and he knows who he is and the game that he can play, what would Bichette taking a step forward defensively do for this infield?
Arguably the best infield in baseball.
Truly. Think
Gold
about
glove
that,
at
Blue
first
Jays fans.
base, platinum glove at third base, competent glove at shortstop. That's
with Santiago Espinal as an excellent glove at second base. All-star at second base. Like the defensive runs saved that we could see out of this infield and the outfield next year. Defensively, it is an exciting time to be a Toronto Blue Jays fan. And they're still pounding the ball. Like Adam, everyone who is worried about offense taking a dip down, do you think spring training is easing that worry at all?
Yeah, except for Hey Kami, who keeps pointing to the stat sheet of Dalton Varsho and comparing it to Teoscar Lourdes and Gabriel Moreno. But admittedly, Joel did say, other than that, he is satisfied with how the team looks. So
yeah. And you know what, man? I know Dalton Varsho maybe hasn't had a hot start in spring. I don't really care. I know we were in a text thread with Joel Haycomi yesterday where he was shoving those Teoscar Lourdes and Moreno stats down our throat and then pointing to Varsho. And I couldn't help it. I wrote back, I'm like, man, I just don't care.
Yeah.
Like if this is the case June 1st, then yes, I'll worry, obviously. But let's let the guy, and we've mentioned this before too, let's let Dalton Varsho, who just literally moved to a new country, new teammates, new surroundings, let's let him get a little bit acclimated. It's literally been not even a month. So let's just, if we're panicking about, for all of you panicking about Dalton Varsho on the Hey Kami train and just like truly worried, just, shove that down. You can always worry about it in a month.
Well, the Dalton Varsho thing is, for me at least, I've never expected him to be a 295 batting average guy for this team.
No.
Like
No.
Matt Chapman in the outfield is
Yes. Great example. Great
how I
example.
sold
Guy
this to
who's
myself, right? Elite defensively, got some real power in the bat, and when he connects, it's gonna go a mile, right? So
and
yeah,
he
it'll
has
it'll
some
figure
skill
itself out.
sets. Yeah, it will work itself out. And he has some skill sets that aren't very prevalent on this team. Right? Like last year, Dalton Varsho had 7 bunt singles, which is more than the entire Toronto Blue Jays last year.
Wow.
He's got speed. He's got a great mind for base running. I just would like to give it time and see how he fits into this team before we panic. And I think you're on board with that. And I think most people are. In the meantime, we'll continue to respond to Joel's panic texts with some levity
Absolutely.
as much as we can garner
Ah,
until we're panicking too. Like I will panic if Dalton Varsho is falling on his face and it's June 1st, of course.
I think just to clarify for Joel, because
Mhm.
he's going to see this, he's going to text us
Yes.
about it.
Yes.
I don't think
Yes.
he's panicking so much
No.
as he's doing a dance of "I told you so."
Mm-hmm. Which is too early, Joel. We love you, but it's too early to tell us so.
Yeah.
Plus, of all of like Joel's a great baseball mind. If there is one crack in his armor, it is his love for that 2021 Blue Jays baseball team. And listen, I love them too. It was such a fun team, so close to the playoffs. And I think had they got in, they could have really done some damage.
Yep.
I mean, this is how time works. Things move on, contracts expire, front offices take different directions. So we'll need to wait and see how this 2023 Blue Jays team shapes up. But I mean, let's give Dalton Varsho a little bit of time to get acclimated.
Real question.
Let's talk.
Hold on before we pivot. If this season rolls through, Gabriel Moreno has an OPS that's like MVP consideration. Runaway rookie of the year. We're talking OPS of like 1100.
Ugh.
Right? Just stupid numbers from the kid. Lourdes is good. Dalton Varsho is hitting 225 with like 25 home runs and a Gold Glove. Like he's the hands down Gold Glove winner for left field. Do you care?
No, I think that's a win.
Yeah.
That's a win. Honestly, I and maybe I'm viewing this wrong. I look
That's
at our
how I'm
catching
looking at it too,
situation.
Scott.
I look at this catching situation in Toronto, dude. We're stacked.
Yeah.
Kirk's under control for 4 more years. His bat is incredible. It is next level. He puts the ball in play more than almost any catcher in baseball. Danny Jansen's OPS and his power has come along really nicely. They're a great tandem. Most top 10 catchers in baseball's list, and this is not from a Blue Jays fan perspective. These are lists around the league. Both Danny and Kirk are in that top 10. So if Moreno is incredible, it's irrelevant to me because our catching situation is so good anyways. Like, would Moreno be slightly better than Kirk? Maybe. Would he be slightly better than Danny? Maybe. But I really do believe that it's going to be incremental. Again, This is still wait and see stuff, right? Where are you at? You feel the same, eh?
Oh yeah, big time. I mean, I wish Moreno all the best in Arizona.
Yes,
I'm genuinely
absolutely, me too.
going to be rooting for the Diamondbacks this year. That being said, yeah, logjam at catcher. Like someone had to go, and regardless of the numbers that Moreno puts up this year, he wasn't going to put up those numbers playing 35 times in Toronto this year.
The Jays had to move a catcher, and they did, and they filled an area of need when they did it. What more can you ask of your front office?